Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas has inaugurated a new Palestinian embassy at the Vatican. Abbas unveiled a plaque and flag at the new mission. Diplomatic relations between the two sides were officially established 2 years ago. Abbas also repeated calls to US President-elect Donald Trump to stop plans to transfer Washington's embassy in Israel to Jerusalem. During his visit, Abbas also met with Pope Francis. Their talks came ahead of an international conference in Paris, which is aimed at reviving the Middle East peace talks.
This was the third time that Pope Francis and President Abbas met, and another cordial meeting between the two leaders. Pope Francis is really pushing for a new opening, fresh dialogue in the Middle East. He wants to see peace in the Middle East. He's spoken out many times about the need for peace in Syria. He wants to see fresh dialogue between the Israelis and the Palestinians. And this meeting was part of that process. It's also to mark the opening of the Palestinian embassy to the Holy See. And President Abbas said after the talks, Pope Francis was a man of peace who loved the Palestinian people. So these talks today are significant. They come ahead of the peace talks in Paris on Sunday. And before he met Pope Francis, President Abbas had talks with the Italian Foreign Minister Angelino Alfano, who reaffirmed his support for a two-state solution, while also warning the Palestinian leader he wants to see any acts of violence condemned by the Italian government if they take place in Palestinian territories. So both talks with the Italian government and with Pope Francis, a step on the way to Paris, and hopefully for the Palestinians, a new opening for the peace process in the Middle East.
Abbas said he hopes the example of the Vatican is followed by others. This embassy is a place of pride for us, and we hope that all countries of the world recognise the state of Palestine, he said, because this recognition will bring us closer to the peace process.
Diplomats from around the world will gather in Paris on Sunday to try to get some movement on long-stalled Israeli-Palestinian peace talks. But Israel has rejected the initiative.
In December, the UN Security Council passed a resolution demanding that Israel seize Jewish settlements in the occupied West Bank. And this weekend, top diplomats from at least 70 nations are gathering in Paris to show support for the creation of a Palestinian state. But French President François Hollande is playing down the prospects for peace.
Peace will be achieved by the Israelis and the Palestinians and by no one else. Only bilateral relations can bring it about. Sunday's meeting must remind us of the determination to support a two-state solution.
It's a bit like a wedding without a bride and groom. More than 70 countries are together in an attempt to resuscitate the peace talks, which have been stalled for almost 3 years. But neither Israelis nor Palestinians have been invited after Israel boycotted the conference.
There are other such efforts that render peace hopeless, and one of them is the Paris conference. It's a rigged conference, rigged by the Palestinians with French auspices to adopt additional anti-Israel stances. This pushes peace backward. It's not going to obligate us. It's a relic of the past. It's a last gasp of the past.